Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're checking out part number 2 for I'm the Resurrection. This is going to be where we start to have a look at that amazing instrumental work by John Squire there. It's almost his own, all along the Watchtower type instrumental. Really amazing stuff from him. We're going to have a look at it in smaller little segments. I think that's going to be the best way for us to tackle it going forward. Anyway, let's have a look at the demo and let's break it down. Alright, so let's start off with the first bit of this crazy instrumental. It's really amazing work by John Squire, all credit to him. I'm going to show you a little demo and then we're going to break it down. Let's check it out. Right then, so first things first, let's just quickly talk about my tone. I'm just using a little bit of overdrive from my Blackstar amp over there. It's just really simple stuff, and I've just got a compressor pedal on just to even out the sound a little bit. It's just a TC Electronics one, and I'm going to leave out the chorus just for the purpose of the lesson. Right then, with that out of the way, let's start on having a look at the riff then. We're going to start by sliding into the 9th fret of the D. We're then going to go to the 7th fret of the G. And then begin to descend down 9-7 on the D and descend all the way down to the 9th fret of the A. We'll then turn that around, climb back up 7-9 on the D and then go 7 on the G and then 9 on the D. And you can choose to pull off and hammer on some of those notes as well. It's entirely up to you how you'd like to do it. Anyway, after this, we're then going to introduce the first bit of sort of funky guitar, I'd like to call it. And you'll see it feature a lot in this instrumental kind of a medley. And it just goes like this. We're just going to do a couple of strokes with then a couple of string wrecks in between and then a final stroke to finish it. We're then going to follow that up with a quick hammer on, 7 to 9 on the D, 7 on the G, and afterwards we're then going to play the 9th of the D, let that one ring out. Then go 7, 9, 7. And then we're going to do the reverse on the A string. We'll go 9, 7, 9. And to finish, we'll go 7, 9, 7, 5, 7, 5. Put it together and we have this. Moving into our second part, this is going to be a really tricky part and probably one of the hardest things to do in this instrumental. Coming off the back of that riff, our last note we're playing there is going to be that 5th fret of the A there, that D note. Now afterwards we're going to have to jump all the way over to our E string and all the way up at the 14th fret. It's a bit of a jump between the two. It's going to take a lot of practice to get that right, so don't be alarmed if it doesn't go right the first few times. Anyway, we're going to play that 14th fret like I said, and then we're going to do an interesting technique. We're going to mute the E string and then play the 12th fret and then mute the string again and then play the 10th fret 3 times. Then we'll go 12, 10 and land at the 12th fret of the B. go back to our starting position at the 14th fret of the E, and then pull that off to the 12th, go to the 15th fret of the B, and then 12, 14 on the E there, and then we're going to slide all the way up to the 19th fret of the E there, getting really high up the neck, then the 17th, and then 19, 17 again on the B, and then we're going to slide that all the way back down to the 12th fret. Put the two parts together and we have this. So we're now going to be moving into part number 3, where we'll be doing a lot more funky style guitar there. If you want to move over to your neck pickup, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to leave it on the bridge, just depends kind of what setup you've got and what your pickups are like. Anyway, let's have a look at the demo and then we'll break it down. So we're going to be up at the 10th fret of the B and E, as I'm sure you saw there. And like I said, it's going to be that sort of funky kind of guitar style. We're going to start by playing the 10th fret of the B and E, and then quickly go over to the 7th fret of the B and E, and we're going to get that string rake in between the two. Afterwards, we're then going to do our third shape, which is going to be our ring finger at the 10th fret of the B and our middle finger at the 9th fret of the E. Then we're going to go back to that 7th fret of our B and E. Afterwards, we're then going to do a little hammer on, 7th fret of the G, going to the 9th, 7th fret of the B. We're then going to bar the G and B strings, 7th fret, and then play the root 9th fret of the D. So far we have this. We'll then continue our funky guitar at the 7th fret of our G and B, and we'll quickly go over to the 9th fret, and then we're going to do this alternative shape. We're going to bring in our middle finger to the 10th fret of the B and our ring finger to the 11th of the G. I quite like to just leave my index finger though at that 9th fret, because we'll be changing between the two. Afterwards, we're then going to play the 9th fret of that G and B another time, and then we can either just put on and off our alternative shape, or we can just use our middle finger on that B string 10th fret. Either way, we'll go back down to our 7th fret of our G and B and just let that ring out. So we've now arrived at part 4, which is going to be the most complex part that we have a look at in this entire lesson, and we're going to stop after this as well because your hands will need a break. It's going to take quite a considerable amount of dexterity. It's quite an advanced piece of music, this one. Let's have a look at the demo and let's break it down. So we're going to be at our 7th fret there of our B and E strings. We're going to do a lot of down and up strokes with 2 down strokes to finish. Sounds like this. We're then going to move over after a little bit of time to our 7th fret of our D, hammering onto our 9th, and then bar our G and B there, 7th fret, and play that twice. We're then going to play the 7th fret of the G by itself and land back at our root there, 9th fret of our D. Now we're going to be going into this really complex flurry of sort of staccato type guitar, and that just sounds like this. So we just need to get used to the idea of doing that constant strumming pattern with the string rakes and squeezing on and off that 7th fret of the G and B there. Doing it nice and slowly, it should just sound like this. And then a bit quicker. When we've got the hang of that sort of funky strumming pattern, we're then going to quickly move it up to the 9th fret. And then we're going to bring that alternative shape on, which is that 10th fret of the B and 11th fret of the G. And we're going to put that on and then off. And then we'll take it back down to the 7th fret, and then we'll hammer on our ring finger to the 9th fret of the G, and then we'll play it by itself again. And in full, it should sound like this. The reason this is such a complex and tricky part is even after we do that fast staccato guitar, we're then going to have to do this really quick rundown and also turnaround as well, and that just goes like this. So for this, we're going to be starting with our middle finger, can't stress that one enough, middle finger at the 11th fret of our D, and then index finger coming in at the 10th fret of the B. We'll then take our middle finger down 2 frets to the 9th fret, and then ring finger now coming over to the 9th fret of the B. We're then going to take that shape down 2 frets to the 7th fret, and then we're going to take our middle finger down 1 fret to the 6th fret of the D, and then index finger to the 5th fret of the B. I recommend really practicing that one and getting it kind of up to speed. Afterwards, we're then going to do a little bit of back and forth on the 7th fret of the G and the 9th of the D. And that's finishing on the 9th fret there of the D. And then we'll be moving down to the 2nd fret there of the D with that kind of rhythm. Open, open A, hammer onto the 2nd fret, open D again, and then that B power chord. So now we've got all the components to do this final part. Let's go through it again. And then at full speed, it should sound like this. So that was my lesson on part number 2 of I'm the Resurrection. Really well done for sticking with it. It's really hard work, so give yourself a break now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on part number 3.